Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 141 of the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, and this is the show for anybody serious about building and growing a successful membership website. Today, we are continuing our trip into the archives of the past 100 or so episodes of the Membership Guys podcast, and I've got 3 handpicked from the vault episodes that I want to bring back up to your attention for anyone who may have missed them first time round. You know, we've got over 2 years worth of episodes of the show. There's a lot of very good episodes, a lot of very important topics that have been missed. And today, that may have been missed if you haven't been listening to us since the very beginning. One such topic that we're talking about today is the importance of audience building. No matter what Kevin Costner says, build it and they will come is not a valid business strategy, especially when it comes to membership sites. So in this episode that we're bringing out from the vault, all the way from episode 27, we answer the much asked question of whether it's possible or advisable to launch a membership site when you don't have an audience. So do you build and launch the site and then build the audience, or should you have that audience in place first? So in this episode, we discuss why audience building is particularly important for membership site owners, as well as give some of my top tips for how you can get started on building your audience for your site fast. So with no further ado, let's dig right into the archives with episode 27 of the Membership Guys podcast. Can you launch a membership site without an audience? There's really 2 questions. First of all, could you launch a membership site without an audience? Of course you could. But should you launch one without an audience? Absolutely not. Having an audience is crucial if you are planning to launch a membership site. And when we talk about an audience, we're not just talking about buyers, we're not just talking about potential members here. Your audience are the people who will help you to validate your idea. So without an audience, how do you know that anybody's going to have any interest in what it is you're actually bringing to market? Without an audience to consult, without people to actually ask who represent the target audience, the target market you're going for, then you've no way of actually knowing that what you're creating and what you're planning on launching is any good. At best, you're probably, if you don't have an audience or you don't have anybody helping you to validate that there is a need for your idea, then at best, chances are you're just looking at what other people are doing and what their audience is responding to and hoping you can model that. But the problem is that's their audience. They have their existing rapport, they have an existing relationship, they'll have researched their audience, they'll have had feedback from them. It's not your audience. So you not only need an audience of people who will potentially become members, you need them for a sounding board. They're going to give you ideas, they're going to give you inspiration, they're going to give you crucial information and feedback that will actually help you to shape the membership site that you plan to launch. Now, when we're talking membership sites on this podcast, in a lot of cases, we're talking about e-learning sites, communities, and also setups where you are essentially positioning yourself as an authority, as an expert who has knowledge, experience, expertise that other people will pay to get access to. But again, if you're positioning yourself as an authority, but you don't have an audience, then no audience, no authority. You're just an authority in your own mind, as harsh as that may sound. But without an audience, you don't have any other people who are backing up your positioning, your claim of being an authority or an expert in your field. So even if you do happen to get a trickle of people who organically find your brand new membership site, and you're positioning yourself as this big expert, this big authority on a particular topic, if you don't actually have any social proof, if you don't have an audience, if you do not have followers, if you don't have anybody else backing up your claims of your expertise, then again, you're not going to be able to use your authority positioning in order to actually promote your membership site. Now, this whole subject is so prevalent because membership sites involve a lot of work upfront in most cases. Not only do you have to create content, but you also have a lot of different plates to spin in terms of your technical setup, the different systems you're going to use, your community platform, payment processors, membership plugins. There's so many moving parts that make up a successful membership site that the risk is, if you just steam ahead and create a site without putting any time or any work into building up an audience beforehand, then you can potentially be losing hours and hours of work, of your time, and investing hundreds and thousands of dollars into something that's just going to flop as soon as the doors open, because it's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the wood and no one's around to hear it. Well, if a membership site launches, but nobody's around to actually find out that it's launched, there's no audience to welcome that launch and to rush to your membership site and sign up, then it may as well not have opened its doors in the first place. The worst time to find out that your idea for your membership site sucks is after you've spent all your time and all your money in putting it all together. So you need to have an audience. You need to have the sounding board that comes from it. You need to have indicators from your potential buyers that they're going to buy from you. And it's not just a case of whether people are interested in what you've got to offer. If you have your pre-existing audience, then you also need to validate your own ability to describe your product, to position and promote your product to that audience. It's not just about finding people who will be willing to buy. It's about validating and polishing up your skills in terms of your ability to sell to that audience as well. Now, obviously, membership sites, they're very different from online courses, from software, from information products, and so on, where you're basically, if you're launching something new, you have all this build up and then it launches, and that launch is kind of your one big shot. And if you don't get all of the sales as quickly as possible for that launch, then it's a flop. With a membership site, it's very different from that, in that it's very much more a slow burn. It's not about a big build up towards a huge launch. You do massive numbers and then you work towards the next launch. With a membership site, it's an ongoing, accumulating, slower burn kind of thing. So it could be argued that, of course, you can open your doors to your membership site without any audience and then work on bringing people in, then work on building your followers, your email list, and just add members to your site one at a time over time quite slowly. And again, you could do that. With a membership site, it's not about those big headline numbers from day one. You still have time to continuously be evolving and growing your membership site. But again, if you go that way, there's some obstacles, there's some issues that are going to arise. If your membership site is going to have a community element, and that community doesn't really have any buzz about it, if there's nobody there, if it's just you talking to yourself in the early days, then anyone who does come into your site and does happen to join, they're going to see that. They're going to see that the community's dead, that it's flat, that there's no hype, there's no buzz, there's nothing to really talk about, there's no reason to get involved. And so they're not going to take the time to jump in, which means when the next member joins and the next member joins, you just get sucked into this black hole where your community never really gets off the ground because your launch has just been ineffective. You haven't had that initial influx, that initial seed group of members who would normally get the momentum going for your community to give you something to build on. Another big thing is, if you are opening your doors to your membership site before you actually start building an audience and start driving people to it, then obviously your sales are going to be a lot slower. It's going to be more of an uphill struggle, and there's a greater chance you'll end up getting disheartened with how things are going. The whole benefit to having an audience before you launch your membership site is the initial influx that you get during that launch period. And so if you don't have that, you're going to be getting a handful of sales every week if you're lucky. And that's going to eat away at you. That's going to make you disheartened. It's going to make you less motivated to actually continuously evolve and continuously improve your membership site. And of course, it also means that you're not going to be getting much money flowing in. So you're not going to have the funds to reinvest. You're not necessarily going to have the funds coming in to advertise, to grow your site, and so on. Now, most successful membership sites are continuously adding value. They're continuously adding content. The principals behind the site, the owners and founders, are involved in the community. They spend time talking to their community members and so on. So it's important to remember that, once your membership site is finished and ready to launch, your work doesn't end. Your work is kind of really just beginning. So again, if you're waiting until after your membership site is complete and launched for you to take some time to build your audience, you're not really going to have as much time, because you're going to be needing to continue to work on your membership site at the same time that you're working on growing your audience. So you're going to have no motivation. You're going to be disheartened because members will only be trickling in and they'll not really be jumping into the community. Chances are your churn rate will end up quite high if people join your site and realize that actually it's a bit of a ghost town. You're going to get disheartened. You're not going to have the funds to reinvest, and you're not going to have the time to really make this thing work. So for all of those reasons and many more, it is so important to have an audience, have some audience before you actually launch your membership site. So if you are in a position where you are dead set on creating a membership site, you're excited, you've got ideas buzzing around, and you just want to jump in to making that happen, then here's my advice to ensure that all of that doesn't go to waste. First of all, get started now. Get started today on building your audience. Start a blog, start a podcast, start a video channel, start talking about your subject on social media. Put a waiting list page up for your project and tell anybody who'll listen about it, so that you can start actually gathering leads of people who might be interested in finding out more about your project. Whatever you do, start today on your audience building efforts. Creating and building your membership site could take you several months. So you want to make sure that you've got the wheels in motion in terms of building your audience during that period, rather than just burying your head in the creation stage of your membership site and only coming up for breath when everything's done to realize, nobody's around. There's nobody to tell about my launch. So get started now and look for ways in which you can leverage what you already have. You may actually have an audience without realizing it. If you've got social media accounts and you've got followers, maybe you've got an email list from a past project or a past business. Maybe you've got real world business contacts. Now, this audience might not be the right audience for what you're doing, but they may know somebody else who is from the right audience. So talk about what you're doing, leverage what you already have in terms of relationships, existing websites, existing traffic, social media channels, and so on. And to kind of boost that, you can also look at ways of accelerating your audience growth. So this could be something like running webinars regularly. So start running webinars for free as a lead generation tool. And then your call to action could simply be to join a waitlist, or even pre-sell your membership to people who actually attend your webinars. You could use paid advertising on Facebook to send people to a squeeze page where they can download a free report on the subject related to what your membership site's going to be about. Again, that's capturing interested, relevant leads to make up this audience of different people who you're going to tell about the launch, who you're going to keep updated on the progress of your membership site. You can run social media contests. Again, these can be great ways of building up an audience, building up an email list very, very quick. And as well, do something intensive. Run an email challenge. So rather than just giving away a free PDF, you could do a 30-day challenge that you use as a lead generating activity. And that's something that we did for the membership guys. We ran a free 30-day email challenge where the challenge was build a membership site in 30 days. Now that was a lot of work, but it also helped us build up a big email list of interested, qualified leads in a very short period of time. Now, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, you'll actually remember that myself and Callie, we only really started audience building around about 3 months before the launch of our own membership site, the Member Site Academy. We've been working one-on-one with clients on their membership sites and membership businesses for years now, but we never really stuck our head above the parapet to blog about memberships, to podcast about them, to run videos or do any sort of widespread audience building. We were just focused on one-on-one client work in the membership space. So when we decided that we actually wanted to take all of this knowledge and experience and get it out to the masses with our own membership site, with our blog, with our podcast, then we worked our backsides off to actually make that happen. We were putting out 2 blog posts a week. We were putting out the podcast, videos on YouTube. We were leveraging our social connections. We looked at our email lists from our client work, from our general web agency stuff, and found ways to actually bring in interested leads from there. And during the 2 to 3 months that it was taking to actually put together the membership site itself, we used that time to successfully build and expand our audience so that when we launched successfully. So we know that it can be done. We've done this with clients as well, but the crucial thing is that you get started as early as possible. Prioritize this over getting all the different moving parts in place for your membership site, because without an audience, then you're setting your membership site up for failure. All right, hopefully you found that little trip into the archives of the Membership Guys podcast a useful one. This is such a key area that so many people try to rush, or they just overlook, or they assume that if they just build something awesome, then somehow people's spidey senses will start tingling and they'll just detect that there's this incredible new membership that they must join. It just doesn't work like that. You should build your audience first. Otherwise, it's going to be like trying to push water up a hill, attempting to draw people to your membership site with no pre-built audience to speak of. Now, that episode was actually recorded over 2 years ago, and in that time, we've actually gone further into helping membership site owners to build their audience. We put together, as part of Member Site Academy, a fantastic course all about audience building. So if you are an Academy member and you haven't checked out our course on building an audience for your membership site, then please do check it out in the training library. It's one of the best, most useful and most vital courses that we have there in Member Site Academy. And if you're not an Academy member, well, you know what you can do about that, right? Head on over to membersiteacademy.com today, sign up, and you can access our audience building course as well as 30 plus other courses, our step-by-step membership roadmap, the community, resources, the member-only theme, basically everything you're ever going to need to plan, build, launch, grow, and run a successful membership website. All right. Pitch over. That's it from me for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you agree that it was an important one to bring back up from the vault. Next week we have the 3rd and final episode from our little trip into the Membership Guys archives. We're going to be talking about urgency, scarcity, and running promotions to try and attract new members. So you're going to want to check that one out, not just to revisit the topic and revisit the episode, but also to check out some updated thoughts and additional comments about that whole area of open closed memberships and how to use scarcity and urgency when promoting your membership. Definitely check that one out next week. For now though, I'm out of here. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me, and I'll see you again next week for another installment of the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Member Site Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.